When I was little, Hurricane Katrina hit and the whole city flooded. I remember counting the front steps. In the morning, there were 6. By the night, there was only 1. The levees were supposed to protect us, but they failed. Now, 12 years later, we were told we were safe.
Heavy rains on Saturday created flooding scenes reminiscent of Hurricane Katrina. Nearly 10 inches of rain in 3 hours. Becker said the pumps were overwhelmed.
Well, I was trying to say that we used the available pumping capacity to its fullest extent.
20 of the city's 121 drainage pumps were out of commission.
If we flood like this in a typical New Orleans summer rainstorm, what's going to happen in a hurricane?
I wanted the truth about my home. So I went to meet some experts to find out how safe we really are. I grew up here on Canal and Broad. Why is it flooding so much here?
When it rains really hard, that's when these systems, all of these pipes and pumps that we have, haven't been able to keep up. Imagine if you have a straw and you're trying to dump water on top of the straw, only a little bit can get in at a time. And so all of these pipes along the streets are the same way. When the water's coming too fast at it, it just backs up. And so water flows downhill by gravity to the pump stations, and these pump stations then lift that water up and then push it into these canals. Here's another pump station, and that lifts it again. And then from there, it can flow out to the lake. So each of these pumps has to keep up in order for the city to not flood.
The majority of these pumping stations was built in the 1800s, I think 1899.
So like, what does this actually do? Like, does it just help the pumps, like?
Well, that's like the motor of your car. This is the pump here. These pumps are made to pump massive water. We can fill up the Superdome in a half hour. You're getting to see something that most people don't get a chance to see.
This is my playground.
Yeah, so lucky day.
Did they know how long their system would last? Did they think that the future would look like this?
"300 years ago, under natural conditions, the soils would have been saturated with water content. If you go in that direction, the water content would have been so great that it would have overwhelmed the soils and it would have been swamp. And so the colonials adopted drainage systems that tried to remove water from the landscape, and that enabled the creation of the city. But what it also did was dried out the soils, and the weight of the sand, silt, and clay particles then compacted, subsided, and dropped below sea level. So that's what soil subsidence is. It is the lowering of the soil surface.
So the pump stations contribute to soil subsidence?
They do. Every year we still lose a couple millimeters, which doesn't seem like much, but over the decades it adds up, so that in certain areas we've lost 8-10 feet of elevation. That only makes it worse because sea levels are also rising. What we've always done is built more and bigger pump stations and put in bigger pipes. The problem with that approach is that the more quickly you pump this water out, the more it actually causes the ground to sink. If we think about this whole landscape as a muddy, flowing mess, and we're trying to live on top of that, it becomes a different place. The Mississippi River is constantly depositing new soil, and that new soil is what's called the delta. And so if you left it alone, if this wasn't covered with concrete, that river burst through and destroy huge parts of the city. So we try to hold it all in place with these walls.
The city was built on control. Walls and barricades that stop us from seeing it for what it really is. I wanted to see what it looked like outside of New Orleans. So I took a trip to Coquetry, 80 miles outside of the levee protection zone.
What happens in this area is that there are no pumps to take the water out. And so when it rains, it sits there until the sun evaporates it, or these natural percolation processes can take care of it. And so all of the buildings around here are elevated so they don't get damaged by the next storm surge. I think I have a pretty good idea of what this place is going to look like in 50 years, right? And it's not pretty, I tell you that. Wow. Yeah, no, well, it looks pretty nice now, but there's not going to be a whole lot left of it in 50 years, I don't think. Safety is a kind of binary concept. You're either safe or you're not safe. From a scientific point of view, you can never eliminate risk entirely. Even if you live in New Orleans behind this new $14 billion great feat of engineering, it's not absolute because there's always a bigger storm out there. This is the same problem they have in Miami, they have it in Texas, they have it in all these other places. It's just not easy anywhere.
We do have a limit of pumping power. If they just say, I want to drop 100 inches of rain in this city in a half hour, we can't handle that.
Yeah. What are some emotions that go through your head when a big thunderstorm happens and you have to?
Well, if we're talking about storms where people have to evacuate, that means that we are not with our families. They leave without us. So that means my wife and my kids are on their own. So that can be emotional for you.
So while your family is fleeing the city, you have to stay and
make sure that
it doesn't get too bad.
Too bad. There you go. Good words.
So would you say that generally you know what to expect from the water? Like,
I wish I could say that. I'm not smart as Mother Nature. There's a point where we can do all that we can and there's no more. It's gonna happen again. And here, they just show you, you can't run from life.
we found ways to live that don't make sense. Instead of accepting what makes each place unique, we fixate on our own comfort. How are you going to deal with the effects of what the people who are in power now, like the effects of that later on, like when I'm a person.
You're a person now.
I'm a person. I'm a person like that is very young and then it's not like in a position to.
It's not true. You are in a position, you just don't know it. When I say it's not true, look, when I was your age, quote unquote, when I was your age, you're about to get one of these speeches. I was active in the civil rights movement. We would go doing voter registration work. And young people did a lot of the work. What Marcus Garvey said, what man has done, man can do, is what he said.
Most kids my age are comfortable with what they know. I'm comfortable being uncomfortable.
All right, Chastity.
Hi, I'm Chastity. Okay. Water on the teeth that bind my words, floating away from the acid that got me burned. I just want to fade into an existence upon a vision. Please just listen. Once upon a bloodstained page, I was judged for my disposition. My demeanor isn't of age, and I won't take the stage just to tell you I'm a star. I'll scream it from the ink that I've put down so far. Water in the air, drink it like your last breath. Here, let me give you a sip. I've been slipping into fiction, letting other people control my vision. Let me tell you what I deem to be my mission.